What is up, guys? It's Camille, aka Millie is the name, and on today's episode I will be talking about my experience of living in Los Angeles, California. And this is a little too bright, so hopefully I can, there we go. If this is your first time being here, hi, hello, welcome. My channel is called My Tea is Better, and yeah, let's get started. This is gonna be a really casual chat today, nothing major. So grab your bag of popcorn, chips, whatever, and come sit and talk. For this episode, I am going to go through a list of things that I wrote of what my personal experience is living in LA since I've moved here. It has been one heck of a roller coaster ride that I did not expect. I knew it would be fun, I just didn't know it would be this much fun. Basically, my first bullet point is gigs are a culture out here. So one thing that's different from back home to here is Hollywood. So because filming is such a cultural norm here, people need background actors all the time. They need voice actors, they need models, all of anything and all of the above. So even if you are working a daytime job, it is very possible for people to actually live off of gigs. Another thing that's very common around here are brand ambassadors. I actually feel like the friends that I have made out here, the majority of them come from a brand ambassador community, and it's so cool because everybody sticks together, and I feel like they're always community is the key word for it all. I feel like they are always looking out for each other. You make like really good friends out of it just by finding these gigs and working them. And if you're not living here, it's very hard to understand that whole concept. And I realized, like, living back home, even if you figured out a way to make productions, it's completely different when your entire environment is surrounded by it. I'll give you an example. Outside my window, I would say it's probably about once a month, I literally see them making car commercials. Downtown is like such an area where they film all types of movies, whether it's a music video, a car commercial, anything of that nature. It's just a place where filming is normal. I remember I thought it was so interesting the first time was when I was walking into one of the apartments and they left a sign on the front door saying that they would be filming on this day and just for them to be aware. And that's when I knew that I did not live at home anymore because I have never seen one of those signs in my life.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
The second point that I wanted to talk about was pack your jackets. I know that you guys see the palm trees and the sun, but it gets cold out here. I made the mistake by thinking, oh, I'm never gonna need this. So I threw away all my jackets because I was packing my car and shipping it. And so I just was trying to consolidate as much as possible, and I just knew that I wasn't going to need it. But honestly, I would keep a jacket or two. Obviously we're not going to be in New York weather, but it's definitely cold out here. And let's not forget, we live by the Pacific Ocean, which is not swimming water. So it does get very cold. And yeah, that's all I gotta really say on that. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was the nature. I'm speechless because, wow, it is beautiful out here. Not everybody's a hiking person, and I honestly didn't know that I was until I started going on them. You get invited by a couple of friends, and then you realize how beautiful the views are, and you just become one. Okay, I can't say that's everybody's experience, but what I will say is, if you're a hiking person, you're going to love it here because there are so many hikes, and not just in the Los Angeles areas, but in this, you live in California, you can travel several hours in each direction and still be around amazing nature. I could cry tears of joy because it is amazing. I love going into nature just to feel grounded again. It's just a super calming activity, especially if you find like an easy hike. And then also you find people that you go with. Like, it just makes it so much more fun. One thing you want to do is make sure that you pack at least 1 or 2 bottles of water, because you don't want to die out there. And then also, I always like to pack, I used to just pack like a snack to hold me down, because your girl gets hungry. But now I've gotten to a point to where like I can actually pack a lunch and be okay and be gone for a couple of hours, versus like I'm so ready to get out of the forest. But yeah, anyway, back to the hiking part of it. There are a million trails. I've went to Wisdom Tree. I think my favorite place to really just go to, Malibu area. Once you get past like the touristy part of everything, oh my God, there are these hikes that you can find with waterfalls. There are some where it's like half mountains, half ocean, and I could just fall in love. Okay, let me stop being a weirdo. When it comes to Los Angeles, there is always something to do. If you don't, it's literally because you just aren't looking, honestly. Find out what your loves are, because there's always gonna be a community of people, and it's so diverse here that you're going to find a group, or like at least one friend that loves doing what you want to do. So if you like nature, sure, you are going to find nature people in nature. If you like going to the clubs, that is not personally my thing. Even though I've lived here for almost 2 years, I'm not gonna lie, I love my sleep. And there has to be a good reason why I even step out. And also, let's not forget, I moved in the middle of like a whole pandemic, so it was closed when I first got here. And I just never got into going to nightclubs. But typically if I go, it is to support people. It's just the same thing for me though. Another thing that I love going to are markets. Every pocket, whether it's in like Silver Lake, Echo Park, the Arts District, Culver City, like all of the surrounding areas, downtown included, there are so many flea markets. And not just like flea markets as in like antiques, it's like small businesses. And I love going to them. I love supporting small businesses. And I mean, it's like retail therapy. Honestly, I don't even really go to the mall that much anymore, because there's always small businesses smelling. There's always small businesses selling clothes and just like really cute gift items. So that's one thing I love is that, oh, and I left this off, art pop-ups. At one point, Tupac had a pop-up, and it was in downtown area. Tyra Banks has one where it's just like you get to go inside, and they have like several different rooms where you can just have photo opportunities. There's like one where it was like outer space, another one where it was like a motel, and there's one in like Hollywood that started off as a pop-up, but they did so well that, Museum of Mirrors or something like that. You guys are gonna, selfie museum. I think that's what it is. Okay, don't hate me. Find what you love to do. Stuff is on Eventbrite, but that goes into my next point. Find your people. It doesn't take a whole group of people for you to feel like you're at home and comfortable here. It just takes a good friend or two. That makes it way better, and it makes it just worthwhile. I've heard some people move back because they just didn't like it. But honestly, I feel like it's all in like how you network with people and how you make friends. It's very hard to feel at home whenever you're just disconnected to the people that actually live here. And so just go to an event that you like what people do, because you might find introverts like you. Or you might find an extrovert that you like. I don't know, I always pick introverted people because I always think they're fun. So remember when I told you that if you couldn't find something to do, you just weren't trying? Another thing about that is people are very different out here. With that being said, some of these events are very exclusive, and you have to like know somebody to know about it. It's like an LA thing. Like, it's not advertised on Eventbrite. It's not advertised on Instagram. Nobody knows the address. If you want to be a part of this exclusive event, you need to know exclusive people. That's pretty much how it is out here. If you are looking to get into acting, singing, dancing, whatever art you want to get into, you have to network. Because out here, it is not what you know, it is who you know. And I know that that is a principle in life in general, but especially out here, is that you can get opportunities just because you know somebody. And really put yourself out there. Like, be confident in what your talent is, because the people who get those opportunities are the ones who are willing to put themselves out there and let it be known that I'm a dancer, I'm a singer, I'm an actor, whatever it is. So really get to network with people, because it's just gonna be important for your success in your career. And I say that not even being an actor, but I see it all the time. Like, you just will, opportunities will present itself in the club, at a networking event, like wherever. Like, just make your connections, let people know what you're doing, because this is also, in a way, a very supportive community. Like, everybody's gonna have their opinions of what their experience in LA is, but from my perspective, it is all about what you make it. And I've just had a really positive, like, outcome. You do find opportunists, as in, like, people who will use other people's names just so they can, like, get up there in, like, popularity, like clout chasing. And so that happens, but also not everybody is like that. Like, there, you will run into those people. And I know people talk about it all the time, like, oh, I hate whenever. Yeah, well, in my opinion, I would just rather not focus on those people and, like, even give them a shine of light, because LA is a little different. And I'll be honest, I used to say that, like, LA people are kind of, like, superficial sometimes. They're not really, like, the type to, like, want to get to know you just to know you. You have some people who, like, only want to see how you'll benefit them, because it is a networking culture. But at the same time, I actually find that a lot of the LA natives that I've met are really down to earth. Like, you guys know who you are. I love you. And yeah, it's just all about who you surround yourself with. You peep game, you see what these people are about, and then you keep it pushing if they're not a fit for you. And so that's really all I just kind of have to say about, like, what LA people are like out here, because I don't remember what the population out here is, but if you don't like them, move on and you will never have to see them again. Maybe you do if you keep going to the same events, but for the most part, you don't have to hang out with them, that's for sure. All right, so that kind of melted into honestly, my next bullet point, which is just talking about how there are lots of opportunities out here. If you want to open a business, if you want to do whatever you want to freaking do. I will just say, one example I love to use is that I have a friend. She is a, what do you call that? She's a prop stylist. And she probably doesn't even think it's that cool. I freaking think that's cool. You know when you see commercials and how they have a product and then they have, like, flowers surrounding it, or like it's sitting on a stand, and then it just has, like, it's just really pretty. That's her life. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought that was, like, part of, like, a creative director's job. But you have people who come up with the direction of creativity, and then you have people who style the things around it, and I just think that's freaking cool. So with that being said, lots of opportunities. I feel like if you move out here, you can think that you want to do one thing and decide that, wow, I didn't even know that was a thing, to do something like prop styling. So maybe I'll like that. And I just love that about here, is that there is a job for whatever you love to do, even stuff that you didn't even know you love doing. All right, guys, so I hope you love the bullet points that I've had so far about my experience in LA, and I just have one more for you. Can anybody guess what that is? Drum roll, please. It is the driving out here. Oh my God, I just cannot even. I could make a whole video about this, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to consolidate it here. But just know, driving out here compared to Little Rock is not okay. When I used to have to drive on the highway or anywhere, I would get anxiety. I got anxiety like the first 3 or 4 months that I lived out here, every time I hit the road. And I was like, oh my God, what if I get into an accident? Like, blase, blase. Let me tell you, when you move here, your anxiety turns to road rage so quick. You just get to this point to where like, at first you're nervous because you think that somebody's gonna jump out and like you're gonna have a wreck, blase, blase, which they totally do. But then you kind of get to a point where you become an aggressive driver because absolutely not. What you're not going to do is cut me off and feel like you're gonna squeeze in between cars just so that we can get into a wreck. So then you kind of just learn how to navigate traffic and you realize that it's not you that doesn't know how to drive, it's literally everybody else. And I'm so serious, I know that, I mean, I probably sound like a bad driver saying that, but no, people are horrible drivers out here. You would think it's insane, but honestly, you just kind of learn how to navigate and it's almost like easier in a way because traffic moves so slow that nothing is just like super crazy. Does that make sense? Like, hopefully I can explain that correctly. Another thing that you need to know about driving is read the signs. The signs for parking are super confusing out here. I wish that I'm gonna put like a picture of one whenever I post this, but it's just like, there's some that give you hours where it's like, I don't even understand what this is saying. Like it'll say that you can park Monday through Saturday 9 to 5, but on Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 11 it's sweeping, and then you just kind of got to do the math and figure out like, okay, can I park there or not? So sometimes you'll just have to sit and like read a sign for 5 minutes to truly understand if like this is a good parking space or not. If you want to find parking a little bit faster, you're gonna have to learn how to parallel park. And not just parallel park on the right-hand side of the road, but sometimes there's parallel parking on the left-hand side, which is a little bit trickier, but yeah, it's crazy in these streets. Let me tell you, sometimes going out is so exhausting. It just takes so much energy aside from figuring out what you're gonna wear to actually making it to the event and getting back home. Sometimes, like if it's like on a Friday night and you're going somewhere that's like super popular, like maybe you're going to Hollywood, one thing you're gonna have to realize is you're either gonna be fashionably late or you're going to have to leave super early. Because let's say it takes 35 minutes to get somewhere. You would think, at least back home, let's say if an event is at 8 o'clock, I could leave the house at 7:25 and be there early. No, not here. Sometimes it takes, on average, about 15 to 20 minutes to find parking spaces, depending on the area that you're in. That's like 95% of the time is you're going to have to figure out where you're going to park. Because I don't know what it is about LA, even though there's so many people that live out here, you would think that they would just make a shit ton of parking garages. But no, there's just street parking and parking lots. How are there 200 people that are trying to go to the event and only 20 parking spaces? Like, the math is not mathing is what I'm trying to tell you. So I have literally looked for a parking space for freaking hour. Not 45 minutes. An hour just to go to the beach. Like, what? I was enraged. I was hungry. I almost said, F it, I'm going home, which was gonna take an hour to get back home, and it just is so much. So that, in a nutshell, is my biggest takeaways that I thought were worth mentioning of what it is like living in Los Angeles. If you have any questions below, please feel free to ask. I am happy to make a second video. If you do currently live in Los Angeles, I mean, let them know in the comments if you agree to what I was talking about. If you liked today's video, please take the time to like, comment, subscribe to my channel where I will be talking about all things lifestyle. I love plants. I love a good bag of chips. Hiking, I mean, I'm sure you got that from the video, but yeah, that's it. I will see you guys next time.